Good evening and welcome to Wisdom Walk here on Black Hole Radio and my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. I am your host and guide, Jojapa Maria Ensaroma. And December is the third and final fire month in this most mind-blowing mineral year of clarity, confidence, and courage. In many places around the world, 'tis the season to be jolly, and to remember our humanity through religious holidays like Hanukkah, like Christmas, of course, and Kwanzaa, and to participate in the spirit of giving. The year 2020 heralds the beginning of a new decade and the era that promises radical and dynamic evidence of human evolution. My theme for the month is preparing for 2020. So to close out 2019 reverently, I invite you to join me for a spiritual and emotional healing through 5 personal challenges using the Dagara Medicine Wheel. In this broadcast, I'm going to spill on the challenge to make peace with your past. But first, for those of you who may be watching or listening in for the first time, let me give you a quick overview of Wisdom Walk. It is a personal development resource for your mind, body, and soul. My ministry is any pain that is not transformed will be transferred. So the initial goal of all my programs is to help you learn how to recognize and release any and all pain that may be blocking you from fulfillment in life, or what I like to call having your happy endings in life. Every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, which would be 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I do broadcast live on Black Hole Radio, unless I'm on hiatus or some technical difficulty shows up. But I want you to know that if for some reason you're listening to this broadcast live over the internet and you have a problem with your internet, you can still listen live at this phone number. It is area code 563-999-3089. Again, that's 563-999-3089. Now, I'll upload a video of this broadcast, hopefully by Tuesday, no later than Wednesday of this coming week, to my YouTube channel, again, which is Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. My spills and the time that I have usually don't allow for any kind of dialogue or call-ins, but if you have a question or a comment you'd like to share, you can do so at my website, which you'll see running at the bottom of the screen if you're watching. It is www.wisdomwalk2selfmastery.com. Or if you are watching the YouTube, you of course can make comments or ask questions in the comments box below. So right now I invite you to lay back and join me for an exploration of the inner landscape where you can connect to your soul and discover the true treasure of being human. Now, before I go any further with the spill, with the program, I want to, of course, first acknowledge the ancestors. And I do this every week because these are the persons whose shoulders we're standing upon. These are the persons for whom we are beholden to, for who, what, where, and even how we are today. And so this week, as I'm talking about peacemaking with your past, I thought it would be important to call on the ancestors to help us with this process of this kind of peacemaking. So please join me in thinking of an ancestor or two or more. These are persons, of course, that you may or may not be blood related to, but they are spirits who once walked the earth plane. So they've had their earthly experience, and now they're out in the land of the ancestors wanting to be of service, wanting to help us get to our fulfillment in life. And so think about those persons and say their names out loud. Let them know that you really are calling them. And I'm going to do an invocation, which I ask you to join me in. and to ask for their guidance and their love at this time. Creator, Mother, Father, God, Source, all the one, all that is, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you for your blessing and mercy in our lives and for yet another opportunity to open up to connecting with your great emissaries, the ancestors. Creator, we are on this earthly walk knowing that we don't have access to all of the information that we need, knowing that you have set us up so that we do have to be in lack, we do have to be in confusion, we do have to be in pain, so that we can call on you for help, you and your great emissaries. And so we are doing that tonight. We're calling on the ancestors and asking for their help, their guidance, and their wisdom as we open ourselves to learning how to make peace with our past. So ancestors, 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 please hear our call. You who can see in all directions at once, you for whom problems here are not problems there. We invoke you, we invite you to come and be with us, in front of us, behind us, above us, below us, beside us, as we take on this preparation for the year 2020. We need to be supported. We need to be helped to listen to our inner self. And so we thank you. We thank you. We thank you for being so willing to show up and support us in this way at this time. And so, Creator, once again, I want to thank you for giving us access to these wonderful, wonderful guides. And also I ask and thank you for the blessing of this support in the name of all that is holy. I say amen. Ashe Ahoasa, Shinka Bismillah, so it is. Ashe. Wow. I have to take a breath, because this week, astrologically, astronomically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, is all about potent and powerful change. Last week I hinted at it, told you some stuff that was going on with those big planets moving close to each other and into the sign of Capricorn, you know, all of that, all those aspects, astrological, astronomical aspects. Well, this week it hits the fan. This is when it's going down. So I'm going to start off first with the elemental wisdom for the week and then give you the astrological and astronomical forecasts. So if you've been feeling a little off or just a little crazy, yeah, I can't imagine that you wouldn't be, especially if you've been doing this work and you're open to spiritual wisdom. Yeah, it's that time. So elementally, according to the Dagara Wisdom Wheel that I keep, this Tuesday will be the beginning of our Earth Week. And here's the opportunity for that. It's all about giving support. Isn't that lovely? It's about paying it forward, being an inspiration, offering assistance without expecting anything material in return. It's a time to demonstrate your ability to be generous, compassionate, considerate, and trustworthy. Invoke the generative, nourishing, and abundant universal love energy of this earth element to be of service to others. In doing this in a humble and balanced way, you will be gifting your soul with unconditional love. This emotional resource will serve you well as you continue to move through unexpected barriers to the fulfillment of your annual commitments. As you comfort others, you will be comforted. And I think this is such a great message, especially for this week. I think it's very important that we are realizing that, wait a minute, I can focus on others. I don't have to have myself feel like I'm a victim or, you know, it's all about me. I can really focus my energy and reframe my experience, that I have a choice and I can do that. Now, any opportunity, of course, comes along with distractions. And so the ones for this week that you want to stay away from are, number one, complaining. Yeah. Like when you feel that complaint start to come, just stop yourself and go right into some gratitude. What is it that you are grateful for? Because I'm going to tell you, with the energies of this week, you will spend 24 hours a day, I mean, even while you're sleeping, complaining. So yeah, take on a consciousness about and a commitment to, yeah, I'm just not going to complain. I'm just not going to complain. I'm just going to note it, and I'm just going to keep moving forward. I'm going to reframe it. Yeah. The next one is about expecting others to do what you can. You know, a lot of times unconsciously, what motivates us to do something, especially a good deed, is because we think that, oh, well, this person will be able to, you know, do the same for me. That's not always true. So do not fall into that this week. If you are choosing to be of service to someone, to be helpful, to be kind, to be loving, do that because it's the right thing for you to do. Okay? Make it be about you. Do not make it be about the other person. It will not be a good day. And then last but not least, that fear of not being appreciated or compensated, which would hold you back from doing what it is that you know is the right thing to do, what it is that you're being guided to do. Yeah, just avoid that because, again, our compensation and our appreciation can come in ways that we could never imagine. So if we try to make it about that person, that situation, even that job, we can really set ourselves up for some deep disappointment. So again, stay freed up. Don't fall into that fear. Again, go back to that commitment of being able to give support, to pay it forward, and don't have anything attached to it. Know that your blessings are going to show up in ways that you just would never expect or imagine. Yeah. Now, next Tuesday, we'll begin a fire week on the 17th, and that's more forgiveness work. And I'll tell you all about that, of course, in the next broadcast. Now, let's dive into this astronomical forecast of this very potent and powerful week for deep change. It really is kind of kicking off today with the fact that the asteroid Apophis is passing by the Earth, bringing some serious cosmic change energy. Now, you need to know that the NASA has set up this special agency. It reminds me of it's like the Avengers. It's so fun. It's like, yeah, so it's like the Avengers, you know, they got this special thing set up like SHIELD, where they are able to watch and see what asteroids are coming close to the Earth. And because of the Hubble telescopes and the Kepler telescope and other things they got out there now that can see far away, well, they can get a pretty good idea of what's coming towards us in a way they couldn't do before. So anyway, when they saw this one, and let me tell you, it's in the shape of a Egyptian pyramid. Yeah, like it's huge. So when they saw this one, based on their original calculations, they thought it could slam into the Earth in the year 2029. Yeah, that's what they were thinking. Well, thank goodness we have a God, because that doesn't seem to be the story at this time. Things could always change up, but right now it ain't happening this time. And so it's passing by us in its orbit. It comes from very far out in space. It comes beyond the Kuiper Belt. And the Kuiper Belt is kind of the last known territory of planetary material from when our universe got created, right? You know, this is like the outer reaches. This is at the edge, right? So this thing comes from even further out than that. Yeah, it's just unimaginable. And so the name of it, I found out, is based on the Egyptian god of chaos, who was called Apep, A-P-E-P. And so Apophis is the Greek version of that. Now, Apep was known as the god of chaos and depicted as this giant serpent up in the sky. And as most shamanic healers and practitioners know, anytime the snakes show up, there's going to be some change. There's going to be some big change. So yeah, like I am just so feeling it today. So if you see me be a little crazy, that's why, because I can just feel that energy. For those of you who don't know, and I don't know, but a lot of people don't watch the Science Channel like I do or read this stuff. Anyway, you should know that everything, all the material stuff that we have here on this planet really came from collisions from asteroids from way out there. Like even our water has come from someplace else. And so that's why with this Apophos asteroid coming so close, it's definitely bringing something. It's bringing a message, it's bringing an energy, it's bringing change. Yeah. So that's today. Now, also today, December 8th, you got the Sun squaring Neptune at Pisces. So here's what this means. This comes from Astro Butterfly. And again, her website is www.astrobutterfly.com. I really like her work. She says the Sun is our identity and Neptune is the planet of transcendence. To grow, to evolve, we have to continuously reinvent ourselves. So the Sun squaring Neptune is one of those transits that will help us see beyond the limitations of our ego, beyond the limitations of what we've been told to believe is possible. In reality, you can be whoever you want to be, even if in the process, you'll have to lose your current self. Yeah. So you combine the Sun squaring Neptune, Pisces, with Apophos, the great serpent, god of chaos. Yeah, we're talking about some change. Yeah, we're talking about some good change. And again, know this, that, you know, change, chaos, all of it has this purpose. We are at a point now as human beings where we have got to grow beyond what it is that we've gotten up to. It's not enough. There's more that's needed, and the more is love. We've got to become more loving. Got to become more loving. Things have got to shift. So all of this energetic stuff that's going on cosmically, as well as what's going on right here on the planet, is designed ultimately to do that. So today's a big energetic day of change, things changing, but it doesn't stop. So tomorrow we get some more planetary stuff going on. This is about Mercury entering the sign of Sagittarius, which is called its detriment. So it's like the opposite of Mercury. And here's what it says about this. It says that when Sagittarius, when in Sagittarius, Mercury is blindfolded. Sagittarius is a sign of big thinking, big picture thinking, and that's not Mercury's area of competence. So Mercury has to rely on his intuition, and he's not used to that. So here's the big message for us as humans. Use your intuition to navigate through the next 3 weeks of change, when things can fly and leave you bewildered, like, what the hell just happened? How did that happen? How could I not see that coming? You know, it's like it'll be easy to get blindsided. So it's about really embracing and using our intuition. It's like, this is what I would describe as fifth dimensional mentality. If, you know, the things that are tactile, the things that are material is 3-dimensional reality, and so we spend a lot of time in survival mode. Then there's 4th dimensional reality, which is where we can connect with the ancestors. Like, we know that there's energies going on. It's like quantum physics. We know that there's other things going on that aren't apparent, but we know they're there. We have evidence that these things are in existence, right? So 5D goes even beyond that. And 5D mentality is where you really, really are beginning to live out of the fact that you are an energetic, vibrating creature connected to everyone and everything in the universe. Yeah. And so using your intuition is about that. It's about living your life from the inside out. Meaning, rather than thinking that the material world is the end all and the be all and the end all of things, to know that no, you inside of you have this incredible creative power and energy to choose differently, to shape things differently, to manifest what is in alignment with your truth. And so we're entering into that. We're entering into that more. So again, living from the inside out versus outside in. So using your intuition, what does that mean? That means if you get into a situation and it may look right, everything looks good, it's like luxurious, everything seems to be wonderful, everything's in place, it's like, oh, this is so great. But inside something's saying like, it's like Hansel and Gretel when they go to the witch's house, right? They see all this candy. It's this little bit gingerbread house. It's all this good candy. They go up to the wall. They take off a piece. They taste it. Oh my God, this is good. This is good. But I know, especially Gretel. Gretel knew that something wasn't right. She knew it. But she didn't say anything, right? Because she's like, oh, well, this is good. And then what happens, right? The witch get them, put them in a cage. So that's what you want to be very, very conscious of. Don't let the material world things convince you different from what you are feeling inside of you. Yeah. Yeah. So we're all going to be challenged with that this week. Now, on Thursday, another big day, big stuff happening, including the United Kingdom having their political general election, which is kind of like a forecast to what we're going to be doing here in the United States in November of 2020. Yeah, like big stuff going down. So astrologically, astronomically, the big thing is we have a full moon in the sign of Gemini. Now, what's interesting is along with that full moon, we're also getting Chiron going direct. What is Chiron? Chiron is the energy of the wounded healer. There's a lovely story that she tells about that, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. I'll do it another time, but you can look it up. Look it up through Astro Butterfly, like her version of it, where she tells the story of Chiron, the wounded healer. And basically what that is talking about is that those things in our past, those things that are part of what I call our core wound, are coming up to be healed. And that is always going to bring about change. So from the astrologer Barbara Goldsmith about the full moon, she says this full moon will bring energy to help you get unstuck in life. Isn't that wonderful? She says it's time to seriously consider a courageous act of identity change. Interesting. So whether you can change your home, your country, your name, like she did, she just recently changed her name, relationships, work in the world, or your hair color. It's time to be more of who it is that you really want to be. Now, with the support of Chiron, and this has come from Astro Butterfly, she says you can have a revelation of something very personal and vulnerable about yourself. Something you don't feel easy about, but something that if you choose to explore and embrace will eventually heal you. So again, we are like, I mean, this is like radical change for some people. And I know of some folks who started this stuff like earlier this year, like total change. Somebody who left living where they were living and somebody you thought would never leave. Somebody who got married, it seemed almost like out of the blue and changed their living residence. You know, or somebody changing up a job situation. I mean, change. Even in my own family, like my niece who I've talked about, whose son committed suicide last November, this November, just gave birth to an 8-pound baby girl. Like miracle kind of stuff. And is leaving where she'd been living, moving back to her primary home, her home of origin in New York, and, taking on now at the age of 42 to raise this beautiful baby. Just amazing. It's like amazing, amazing stuff. So that's the kind of energy that is going on. And all of these things are saying to you, if you're just thinking about this a little bit, probably some of you are thinking about it a lot, just know that there is cosmic force supporting you to move forward. And of course, we're going to be talking more about that when I get into this making peace with the past. That's all about moving forward. The next important thing about this full moon energy that Barbara Goldsmith really stresses, and I agree with her, is about prayer. This full moon is calling on us to pray. And I'm not talking about making one-way bargains. I'm not talking about being a victim to a greater order and direction to your God. I'm talking about asking and thanking your God, your greater order and direction, for what it is you want to heal and what you want to change. Because the planetary aspects are really in support of it this week. Yeah, like big, 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 big stuff. Really big this week. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I mean, that is, it's just incredible. I thought last week was amazing, but this week I'm just like even more blown away. Just more blown away. So just know the more coming up, more events that are coming up in December are going to be the solstices, winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. That's on the 21st to the 22nd. Also on the 22nd is Hanukkah begins, and the Ursids meteor showers. Right, so we're going to be having more cosmic stuff coming into our atmosphere. Then on the 24th to the 25th, of course, it's going to be Christmas Eve to Christmas Day, but also a total solar eclipse. Yeah. And then Kwanzaa, the African American holiday for the season, begins on the 26th of December. And then, of course, we roll into New Year's Eve, and then 2020. It's just amazing. So just so you know, this is a lot. It's a lot. It's an incredible month. And, a lot of times Decembers are, but for some reason this December, reminds me of the December of 2011 going into 2012. It was like, really potent like this for change. So there you have it. And so again, just my advice is to take it easy. Like when you're feeling like tired, try to give yourself rest. Don't push it, because there is so much cosmic juice and evolutionary energy going on. It is like, it's yeah. So pay attention to your body. Drink lots of water. Really helps. Keep yourself hydrated as much as possible. And then take it easy. Take it easy, Watch Disney Plus and chill out. Just take it as easy as you can this week. Now, as a reminder, I've declared October as well as, April as Earth Month, and the 22nd of every month as Earth Day. And so it's going to be on a Sunday. So I will definitely be talking about that and giving you some things that you can do to honor the Earth on that day. Now, here we are at the 33-minute mark, and I want to dive into tonight's program. I'm going to once again just kind of share about the year 2020 and why we need to prepare for it, why it's so important. And then I'm going to talk about peacemaking as letting go of resistance to growth. Yeah. Then I'll give you a contemplative spill. and then encouragement to do a water ritual, which is why I am in blue this week, to honor the water energy. My opening quote this week, again, comes from my book, The Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. And I say, when you put your attention on proving who you are not, it leaves little or no attention on who you really are. Happy endings in life, the ones that last, can only come from you being your authentic self. Your authentic self emerges when you uncover your shame and consciously choose to release it. Ashe, ashe. So, 2020, why is this so important? And again, I got this from an astrologer named Gray Crawford. I really like how he puts it. He says, as with any birthing process, the year will involve enduring labor pains in order to introduce a new life. The year 2020 is a threshold to cross, a pause between the way it has been and the way it will be, necessitating a confrontation with all the difficult challenges in need of a remedy within civilization. Yeah. So 2020 is designed to help us, help humanity cultivate new levels of inner strength, as well as new skills that we can share with others, as well as a higher consciousness about who we are as human beings, that we are not just here to survive, that we truly are these vibrational, energetic beings who can choose to have fulfillment in life, to do the right thing, to be the right thing, to heal the pain, to not be run by the pain, to not stay in misery and suffering over things that happened even before we were born, but to heal that and to really appreciate and value this beautiful earthly environment that we have been given to steward, along with the animals that are here, and to have our lives have meaning, to live on purpose, to live from the inside out, and of course to love and to spread the love, to share the love, to have the love. So 2020 comes at this very pivotal time in our evolution as human beings. Now, going back, 8 years ago to 2012, 7 years right now, to 2012, that was when we had completed, as human beings, one phase or one age, if you will, of our human evolution. And we called that the age of separation. It was the age of Pisces. And during that age, if you look back through history, you can see there was a lot of separating out of people, things, information, So we did all that good separating out. And we needed to do that. We needed to do it. But we've also learned how harmful it is to do that, that there are consequences both on humanity, on animals, and on the planet itself, which brings us to why we are now moving into what's called the age of illumination, the age of Aquarius. And in this age, we are to be coming together. This is about uniting, unity, because we have got to realize that we can destroy this planet. We can make things impossible for all forms of life to be here on this planet. We can do that. We have the evidence now. And I'm not just talking about nuclear bombs. I'm talking about plastic in the ocean. So we have to come together. We've got to get over, this person ain't right. This ain't good. This person doesn't know what they're talking about. We got to let go of all of those differences that divide and honor the differences and come together around what we need to be focusing on as humans. So 2020 ushers in an energy, opportunities for us to move in that direction. Okay, and as he says, I love that, it's a threshold to cross between how things were and how they will be. Yeah. And we all get to choose. You know, this is the New Earth stuff. If you read Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, you know, this is what this is about. It's raising that consciousness. I talk about fifth dimensional mentality. Fifth dimensional consciousness is what we're headed to. So, because this is so important and so big, it requires the conscious participation of as many of us as possible. And the way that the universe works, you don't need everybody, but you do need a significant amount of people on the planet thinking in a higher consciousness way, which is why I do the work that I do. And so to get there, it's important that we realize as humans, we do have to heal. And so that's why I'm taking you through these 5 elemental opportunities for personal healing so that you can be more available to participate in the new ways and the new opportunities that 2020 is designed to bring. Yeah. Because we have to prepare for a whole different way of being on this planet. And we have to choose love over fear. Yeah. So to do that, we've got to be connected to our soul. And that's what healing is really about. Healing is where you are taking on the removal of emotions, thoughts, ideas, beliefs, behaviors especially, that would keep you out of alignment with your soul, with the truth of who you are as a divine being. So let's talk about this, making peace with the past. And of course, I'm talking about making peace with past emotional pain. Okay? When you do that, when you decide to do that, to make that peace, you're actually choosing to grow and evolve. To grow and evolve. Yeah. Now, this pain of the past is usually, categorized, if you will, or framed, if you will, in the form of shame, blame, guilt, anger, resentment. It can also be grief. I'm going to throw grief in there because sometimes we are holding on to loss and we haven't done the grief. So it's still sitting there, to be done. Yeah. And so to move beyond all of that really hard energy, it's hard energy, we need self-compassion. We need to become compassionate with ourselves. And we do that when we choose to stop the painful past from being our future. And to do that, you got to feel the pain and release it. Can't ignore it. Got to confront it. Yeah. And like I told you in the astronomical forecast, we're going to have some good opportunities this week between Chiron and that full moon and Venus and the sun going into Neptune. Yeah, we got some good opportunities to be able to do that. When you do not address the pain in your past, the shame that you may be holding on to for something that you did or what was done to you, some guilt that you have because you were supposed to fill in the blank, but you didn't. And it may have not been any fault of your own, but you take it on as if it were, and you feel totally responsible and very guilty. Or you may have really hurt somebody really bad, like physically bad, as well as emotionally. And they're suffering still as a result of that. So you may be carrying that guilt as well. Whatever it is, if you don't make peace with that emotional pain, you are going to keep recreating it Yeah. It just keeps getting recreated. And so then you begin to believe that this is your life, that this is who you are. This is what you're here to do, is to be guilty, to be in shame, to be blaming, to be resentful, to carry a grudge. Even that expression, carrying a grudge, it feels like something weighting us down, right? So we begin to believe that that is our life, but that is not. That is not. That's like saying thunderstorms and snowstorms are what the universe is really about. When we know, if we take a little plane right up above the clouds, what do we see? The sun is shining. Like, that's the constant. And those storms are just going to pass. Well, it's the same thing with these emotionally burdensome pieces of the past that get framed as shame, blame, guilt, resentment, anger, all of that. All of that. Yeah. So, self-compassion. Self-compassion. Number one, just stepping into a willingness to move beyond that emotional burden. It's also a barrier. Because when you stay stuck in that past energy, you're really not getting to fulfillment in life, to your happy endings. You may actually turn down the opportunity for a happy ending because of that stuff in your past. Yeah. It's not nice. It's not nice. It really can mess you up. So, self-compassion, that willingness to say, yes, I need this shifted. I want this shifted. Again, we are energetic beings. We're connected to everyone and everything for a purpose. So to not consciously grow out of your past pain, that impacts everyone around you, not just you, but everyone around you and beyond, the past wants to become your wisdom, which is treasure for claiming your happy endings in life. That's really what the past needs to be. It needs to be your wisdom, not your burden, or not this thing that keeps you repeating so that your past is now your present and will be your future. Like, same thing over and over and over again. So I want to use an example about how when we choose to grow and let go of that pain, that there is treasure that waits for us, that we get to see the purpose in why we went through that pain. And I want to use the example of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because it is Christmas time and it's one of my favorite movies of all time, Christmas or not. It's just, oh my God, it's so well done. And yes, I'm talking about the Rankin Bass Puppetoon, I think they call it a Puppetoon version for children. Such a powerful story, so powerful. So, Rudolph comes out with this shiny red nose and his family is like, even his mama was like, what is this? And Daddy right away is like, oh no, boy, you got to hide that because you'll never get picked for Santa's sleigh, And so right away, Rudolph is made to feel like there's something wrong with him, And so he doesn't fit in. And he gets bullied. And even Santa says to him, oh no, you can't, no, there's something wrong with you, you ain't right, And so Rudolph decides he's going to leave and he's going to become independent and he's going to go out and he's going to just leave all these people behind, go, yeah. And we find out later in the story, of course, that he was not dealing with its stuff, he was running away from it, but even that had purpose because this is when he meets up with other quote-unquote misfits, other people who are different and who are treated like they are, the word, disposable. Exactly. And so Rudolph grows and realizes that, wait a minute, I ain't disposable. They got a problem with me, but there's nothing wrong with me. I'm going to go back home and fix this stuff up, And so he goes back home and ends up becoming a hero because his little shiny, bright red nose is what saves Christmas for Santa, first of all, and then for all the children on the planet, right? Love it, love it, love it. Great story, simple but so beautiful and so powerful in its symbolism, because that for Rudolph, that's his core wound, right? And all this stuff in our past, all that emotional pain, it really is connected to our core wound. And that core wound will just emerge in different ways of betrayal or this happens, that happens, whatever. So that pain from the past really will have you, separated from the truth of who you are. Like Rudolph leaving home is like leaving himself, leaving who he really is. But trying to figure it out, going out and trying to find out, who he is. And so for him, his healing comes because he wakes up one day and realizes that, wait a minute, I don't need to treat myself like I'm disposable. That's a self-compassion piece that we have to get to. We have to be like Rudolph and just wake up and say, wait a minute. I don't need to keep carrying this stuff around. It is not really serving me. In fact, it's keeping me from the truth of who I really am and what it is I really want in life. Yeah. So you got to be brave like Rudolph, and you got to go back home in your inner self, and you got to confront that pain, that emotional pain from the past. And, I know women who have had abortions and who still are feeling so guilty about it. Even though intellectually they say, I made the choice, I made the decision, it's clear about why I did it and this and that, but yet they are still carrying around some pain with that. I know men who have been abusive to women, domestically violent, and who did turn themselves around, but still, for the hurt and harm that they did, they're still carrying some shame, still carrying some guilt, or, for those of us who have been sexually abused, you may still be, having victim experiences in one way or another, and that's still carrying around that shame of what was done to you. So again, go deep with your getting at what in the past you need to make peace with. And the making peace isn't about you treat it like it never happened. No, making peace means I'm turning it into wisdom now. I'm turning it into treasure so that I can move forward in life knowing that this pain is no longer going to be a barrier. So here's some contemplative questions I want you to think about in preparation for doing a water ritual. 1, what's in your past that you are ready to grow away from? Okay. What's in your past that you're ready to grow away from? Also think about, how has staying stuck served you? Because it's really important to understand that we're holding on to this stuff for a reason, So you want to be more aware about how was it serving you, and it could be because you were too afraid to move forward because that's going into the unknown and that's too scary, whatever, but really have a consciousness around that. And then the third contemplative question is, what do you want to experience in life as a result of making peace with past pain? What do you want to experience in life as a result of making peace with past pain? Because this should be the motivation for letting it go. Yeah, that you have a clear goal in mind or something that you want to do, and that pain has been holding you back. So, water ritual, a spiritual practice for transforming pain with water. Like last week, once again, you're going to write out on a piece of paper your answers to the contemplative questions I shared. You're going to roll up that paper and tie it with a beautiful ribbon or string and place it overnight on your ancestor altar. Again, that's red cloth, red candle, picks or items belonging to ancestors. And you're going to ask your ancestors and thank them to help guide you through the experience of peacemaking with your past. The next day, you're going to release that paper in a sacred manner to a body of water at your earliest convenience. Now, two things. If you're someplace where there's snow, can you bury it in the snow? Totally. That's water. Also, if you're in an urban area and it's not easy to get to a lake or a pond or ocean, you can use the sewer. It's because the sewer eventually going to get to a river or to some, bigger body of water. So drop it down the sewer. Yeah. Not the toilet bowl. Paper might give you a little backup. But go outside in the street, find a sewer, get rid of that puppy. And again, in a sacred manner, meaning that you are going to call on your God, your spirit guides, your angels, and the ancestors to guide you safely through the process. I guarantee you within 3 days to a week, something will shift. You'll get a revelation and evidence that something has shifted for you. Now, I suggest too that you refer to chapter 17 in my book, The Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. I'm pointing to it on the shelf here for those of you who are watching the video, because it'll have more details in there and more support. Last week I think I said chapter 20, but it's really chapter 16 for fire and chapter 17 for water. Now, as a reminder, this personal challenge will be listed in the box below the YouTube video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for all postings. Thank you. Thank you very much. I may put it on the Facebook page. I'm not sure yet, but I'll see if I can do that. But it definitely will be on the YouTube page. Wow. We have come to the closing of this broadcast. And I want to first acknowledge my amazing engineer, Miss Yvette Parker, who had a death in the family, but still has found a way to get me hooked up to my platform for Blog Talk to be able to do this broadcast live for you. Thank you, Yvette. That was beyond considerate of you, but also an indication of how important you believe this work is. So thank you and your family. Of course, you have my deepest sympathy, and my prayers go out to you and all of your family members. Another prayer request I got was from my buddy in London, England, because this week the United Kingdom is having their general elections, and it's divisive and fiery and crucial, just the way November 2020 is going to be here in the United States. So sending out prayers for right outcomes. And again, we are in the age of illumination. We need to move into a higher consciousness of who we are as human beings. Definitely. To all my regular listeners out there, to Miss Sarah, again, who's reached the age of 95, healthier than she was 12 months ago. Amazing. She's an amazing human being. To all of those who have wisdom walk with me, and you know who you are. To my family, my spiritual kin, my transformational leadership colleagues, and my medicine brothers and sisters around the world like Asu and Ina, who do amazing work in Burkina Faso, which is going through a lot of challenges. So more prayers for Burkina Faso, the birthplace of my teachers. And to those who may be listening in or watching for the first time, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I could not do this work without your listening, without your watching, without your support. Now, next week, I will continue December's theme of preparing for 2020 with value yourself and others. Yeah. Again, my Facebook page is Wisdom Walk Radio, YouTube channel Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. And last but not least, I would like to thank my God, my ancestors, my spirit guides and loving entities, everything that walks with me, keeps my head to the sky, my feet to the ground, and my heart open to do this important and vital work with and for all of you. Have an amazing deep change week in this Earth week, so it'll help you stay grounded. And most importantly, please remember, you are not disposable. Just like Rudolph, you are divine. Good night now.